But the real challenge is not to getting started. It's about being sustainable and being able to continue pursuing your passion through the monetization. And that's really what the creator economy is about. Like, how do we unleash the potential for content creators to keep going?
All right, hi everybody. Today's conversation is about something we hear all the time, the creator economy. But if we're honest, most of the time it gets reduced to followers, content, and monetization. And yet, creators today shape culture, build communities, and drive movements, but often don't fully own the value they create. So maybe the real question isn't how creators earn, but how creative work itself is evolving. Is the creator economy really about content, or is it about identity, ownership, and community-driven value? So today we're joined by Sebastien Borget from Zanchain, a platform focused on building infrastructure for what they call the next era of creative work. And of course, how do I know him? I know him through Olivia Lee, our expert digital retailer. This season is proudly sponsored by Sideshow Tea, fueling our conversations with premium single origin tea infused with sparkling water. So, today's world is one where creators don't just grow audiences, they build sustainable economies around their identity and communities. So let's unpack what the creator economy is, what that means, what you're seeing the future of. Certainly, like, even today, actually, honestly, there are just way more creators than, when I started 12, 13 years ago, which is amazing. I mean, it's like on Instagram, I'm flipping, and it's like, singer, songwriter, actor, filmmaker, whatever, right? and I'm like, this was not around when I started. So it's exciting for me to see. So I'm like, my problem is like I'm following too many people now. It's like follow. So, but anyway, so welcome to the show, and I'm excited to get started. From your perspective, what is the creator economy really about for you guys, and what are you guys trying to do with it?
Yes, we're living exciting times, to be honest. Like this is one of the most prolific time for like unleashing content creation and creativity thanks to the technology. Like anyone can become a creator thanks to like the accessibility of the tools, the availability, plentiness of like AI creation tool as well, and technology in general. And this has become over the past 10, 15 years. It really started with like social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, noticeably as main platform, but it evolved into gaming with user-generated content and so on. And today, the creator economy, it's already a market, an industry that's worth over $250 billion. It's really the idea that anyone, whether they are like an individual, single person, or they are bigger studio and teams, they can publish their own content in any format. Could be music, audio, films, games, self-publish it or publish it on platform with existing distribution. They can build up an audience with it, and they can start monetizing that content through different means. Today, the state of the creator economy is like it's still largely concentrated on what we call Web 2 platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, and so on, where the content creator are dependent on the distribution, the algorithm, the discovery from those platforms, which bring to them millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of viewers, if you think to the top creators. And they are monetizing that audience, usually through sponsorship, product placement, advertising, or for the more advanced, they became entrepreneurs. They build their own brand and business from their audience, and they develop and launch products such as like their own clothing brand, their own cosmetic brand, their own online course. If they are like, for example, sharing specific methodology to be, I don't know, like in all that area of online education for many content creators. And they are living through that revenue. There are still major issues when you think about it around the creator economy. Even like the opportunities there, it's amazing. The reality is like only 1% probably of the content creator are going to earn more than 6 figures a year. And actually, the average revenue that content creators are earning is somewhere between the $100 to the $1,000 a month, which is definitely not enough to create a sustainable living income, which they could live on. So many of them, they got started by passion. They are driven by the creativity. The technology is abolishing the barrier to get started. But the real challenge is not into getting started. It's about like being sustainable and being able to continue pursuing your passion through the monetization. And that's really what the creator economy is about. Like, how do we unleash the potential for content creators to keep going? So the main challenge they are encountering will be related to the discovery, the building up of a loyal audience that stays engaged with them and not just move swiping up without following them more content. And so it's not just about the vanity metric of like followers and number of fans, but it's the quality of that engagement that usually matters. Fewer follower, highly engaged, following you repeatedly, buying products from you or courses from you are usually more valuable than the one that just passed by, watching few seconds and moving on. And the content creator are always seeing different challenges. Sometimes they're not even aware about those challenges because they haven't the full education about like marketing, about financial literacy. So when they are being paid by the platform for their advertising earnings after 60 days or 90 days, they don't realize that they are actually losing massive opportunity whereas if they were paid like instantly or every day, for example, they don't realize that the platform, in exchange of bringing the users, are actually taking away 30%, sometimes more, of their revenue because sometimes the algorithm will start to punish their discovery and they will need to start paying for advertisement themselves to keep getting users. So actually reinvesting a part of their own earning back to the platform. And typically on average, this is very visible, for example, in mobile gaming and mobile apps industry, where like developers have to reinvest up to 70 to 80% of their earning to keep their user acquisition flow ongoing. And at the end, they only keep maybe 10% of the revenue they generate. And they don't realize as well as like what they believe they build as a community doesn't belong to them either. So the reality is like, if they try to reach out to that audience, they can't. They don't have their email. They don't have their phone number. They have very little visibility around like who they are, where they are, what are the demographic, how engaged they are, and creating a whole journey of engagement for rewarding those audiences, getting them to engage more, to consume more, spend more, and build a better quality. So trying to keep it short, that's like the big picture of the creator economy and the current challenge it has. But these could be solved. We are seeing content creator that already adopted solution that enables instant payment, faster payout, loyalty system that drive up like the consumption or watching videos or the content they produce, and having like better quality audience through that without needing to move the platform. And that's essentially what Sunshine is also about. And I'm sure we'll talk a bit more after.
Thank you so much for that, Seb. That was a very good overview of what is the creator economy. How did it start? Why did it have to start? What are some of the challenges? What is the market value, the potential? What is it like to be a creator in today's world? And how can you actually benefit from it as a owner of your own content? So I think in that part, you covered quite a bit. What do you think is the biggest issue with content creators? Like, what's the problem with it today, and how you foresee Sandchain can provide the right ecosystem to support creators like myself and Derek?
I would say there's two things. Like, one is like a historical problem is like the general education, again, like that content creator needs to have to understand that the importance of like ownership of data, ownership of your user base and community, and financial literacy. So then they are not only equipped with like the tools to be creative, but they're also equipped with understanding what money means and financial streams and income can impact their business to actually keep on going and eventually hire a bigger team and increase the quality of the studio and their audience. Typically, like when they earn revenue with ad, when they sometimes accept sponsorship, they are diluting their own value. and it's hard to stay relevant and so on. And they have to wait for those payments to come. Sometimes they forget. There's always issues as well, like when payment never come. All that money that's not received is not put to work, is not yielding a revenue. They cannot reinvest directly. So money that's being paid 60 days, 90 days later versus money that you receive right away has like a different value in a way, like, and you cannot, so that's one main problem. The second issue that those creators don't realize they have is like basically the more they and it's very natural, like you want to build an audience, so you're going to publish more and more content on the same channel, and then you realize that you're dependent on that channel, like you cannot move anymore to another platform because you don't have an audience out there. So you don't want to start over again, like you're going to that effort, all that energy, time, and sometimes money that you put to build your reputation, your content, and your audience online, it's actually very difficult to start over. So the platform actually count on that and count on that psychological effect that it's actually worse for you to start over and move things. And so they keep you locked into their ecosystem. And over time, we've seen that so many times, as the algorithm of discovery starts to be updated, it will always favor the creators who are paying a little bit more. And if you stop paying for your own discovery and advertising, suddenly there's no more organic traffic. So it's pay or die in a way. So you become really prisoner of the system on multiple aspects, the discovery, the access to the audience. And that's, I think, like the second problem that the creators need to be aware when they start, like how do you build an audience while staying as much as possible independent of that grasp that the platform can have on you easily. And I like traditionally, when we've done web marketing, etc., the brands, the businesses, they will try to develop like newsletter and email marketing. So they have at least one touch point with their audience, which is an email address. They will have like a mobile app where they will have push notification to reach out to their audience and understand better their behaviors. And all of that is valuable data that they can then you leverage to develop more targeted and fitted content for their audience and not be dependent only on the browser or the internet provider or like the app store for relying to get their own audience. We've seen as well real world business implement what we call loyalty program. Think like your hotel or favorite like airline, train, etc. Or even like your favorite coffee place like Starbucks, they would try to build up the loyalty with their existing client, getting them to return and offering them to collect points or miles. And once they reach certain status, they will get better various perks, benefit, discount, it depends. But basically, it's this idea, which is coming very much from like gamification, where the more you're a loyal customer, the more benefits you get. And that is very logical for big businesses, hotels, airlines, etc. But why content creator cannot have that at their own level? They're publishing, like the behind the scene of every content creator is like they work hard several hours, nights and days to publish their content, even if you feel and see that it's always like magical land when they produce their content, like all the editing, all the thinking, the storytelling, etc. And so like they should have access to ways to reward the people who come and follow them regularly and to drive more people to stay engaged once they get discovered, so that for every new user they get, that user will not churn right away and move on, but hopefully will become a loyal fan, loyal customer who will, and we all know that once a user is loyal, they tend to be spending more. And they can spend in more in product that are maybe more connected to like the core topic that content creator is actually talking about. So then there is a better trade-off for content creator. Instead of like accepting any kind of advertising or promotion, instead of making merch where we all know it's always the same mug, it's always the same t-shirt with just my brand name. It doesn't connect, but you know, it's the best solution they found to make some kind of revenue and to ask or beg their audience to support them so they can keep coming and living from that passion. And it feels sometimes so awkward, or like you say, or for the fan, you say, yeah, I want to support you, but like I don't want to get like sorry to say it, a terrible product. No slangs, just let's use terrible product as a fan. So you want to feel like the connection is here, is not forced. You don't want to also just go into a Patreon and feel like, oh, I just need to donate and donate and donate for keep supporting. So I need to be this big donator for content creator to make a living. And if I stop donating, like all that creativity is gone.
Yeah, I think what you've just mentioned is a huge problem. As Derek first mentioned when we started the show, we are seeing more and more creators, partly because it's a legit industry and it is something that someone can do full time. It also takes a lot of opportunity to embrace your passion, to build your own community, and to build your own kind of own personal media, which I do believe we all need, even if we have a full-time job. Think about all those like dermatologists that's like creating all these content, commentating on like celebrities walking the runway. Like this is just the way of the world, right? But what you brought up is it is a huge problem. Especially you mentioned some pain points that I feel so deeply, Sebastien, like so deeply. As you mentioned, like as you know, on LinkedIn, I've been writing endlessly, spending hours hiring other people, coming up with content, interviewing. And it really did come of passion. And it really did come about me trying to understand this section of, say, Web3, digital fashion, metaverse, immersive commerce, agentic, all that stuff that I'm learning. And I really enjoy it. But you just brought up why I'm not getting those traffic anymore on LinkedIn. And it is a problem. I'm really struggling and thinking about how do I take all those content I put out there that inevitably doesn't even belong to me, and how do I extract it and start over? And that point itself is such a huge hurdle, which I'm still contemplating on how to do it right. So it leads us to the perfect section to talk about Sandchain. What is Sandchain? And how it will fix all of those problems you just mentioned. And I think it will be helpful if you talk about, maybe repeat some of those major challenges you see in creators economy today, such as payment, such as retaining attention, such as the loyalty program should also be shaken up because that's sort of an outdated program as well. But parts of it is useful, such as the gamification, the rewarding of your followers, and then maybe share with us something specific about Sandchain that's tackling that problem. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Well, then like what the situation you're living is like really what I'm hearing from every creator as I got to travel the world, meet them. It's also the main problem that we saw at Sandbox ourselves before. So before co-founding Sandchain, I've also co-founded the Sandbox. It's it's been one of the leading metaverse platform where people could make their own games and publish them on the virtual land. We have had over 8 million users in the blockchain 3D virtual world-based version, and over 40 million users and downloads back then in 2011 on the mobile game version. And I really found it firsthand, that problem where content creators were struggling first about monetization, and then they were struggling to be discovered, to grow their audience, and not be dependent on the platform for the discovery. So Sandchain came out. We announced it last October 2025. It's a blockchain that provides essentially solution for content creators to have like their own loyalty system, so they can essentially create their own quests, which will offer like points. So they have like creator points that are on chain and can be exchanged for other points with other creators in the network, or for token that have actual real factual value, which are like SAN token, the UT token of our platform. But maybe let's put aside the blockchain side. The idea is very simple. As a content creator, you can build up your own loyalty program with your own point that you can distribute to reward your audience, and you can select which benefit or perks you give that audience access to as they would level up into like earning more points and like into different tiers, maybe silver, gold, platinum, as an example. You can also enable specific access to content like, I don't know, VIP, backstage, free tickets to events, time for for your audience to chat with you one-one or private room on the Discord and so on. And the great thing is like, it's not yet another solution where, like I was mentioning before, to build up a better quality engagement, you have to start over a new channel. The idea is to provide a solution that works on the existing channel that the content creator is already based upon. So like adding a link, adding a QR code, enabling your audience to collect those points. We've already seen great first results where we saw more engagement and sometimes even like higher user spend and revenue being generated on some campaign with the first creator we engaged. So the idea here is like blockchain and Web3 as a technology comes as a way to unleash the engagement and the creativity of those creators without having them to move up to new platform. They can stay on the platform they are on Web2. What we've done as well, Sunshine is still in testnet, but we're working now into verticals. So we are seeing like some of the top categories of content creator would be around beauty, around travel, around food, around gaming. So we will progressively also introduce vertical points, so beauty points, travel points, etc. So it's not just, for example, Olivia point or direct point, but if both of you were a travel influencer, a travel content creator, you could just reward travel points. And so like you're part of like a bigger, I would call it a network of creators. And so like whether I watch Olivia, but if I want to earn a little bit more point to unlock the next reward and Derek is a creator in that network, I should go and watch Derek content as well. And I hope it will work as like a greater way to make more discovery for the content creator part of that same vertical or network. And then they could unlock rewards that are not necessarily specific to you, Olivia, or Derek. I could unlock a discount from a favorite hotel company or airline because my interest is in travel in general.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's definitely something I've imagined is like, oh, what if, I mean, for example, like what if you had a group of people and, I mean, obviously like engagement, for example, on LinkedIn is pretty key. So if everyone was just sort of clicking like on everyone else's posts because they're friends and they're part of that community, then everyone benefits, right? But then, you know, it's really about those people being consistent about doing that and the reciprocation. So that's always the challenge is sort of like, you know, will people kind of engage in the same way and sort of like do the same thing?
Do you need to be rewarded in order to participate? Like this is just a general question. So it's not about, it's just about human behavior and what you think.
Yeah.
Knowing that LinkedIn, my LinkedIn or Substack, which I'm working on, and I'm a creator in the Sand Chain, and I have a network of other creators, and there's like a loyalty program and rewards and stuff. Do you think, just your opinion, do you think knowing that by liking my posts or commenting on my posts that you're going to get rewarded, that's going to make you want to interact with me more?
Okay, then generally, like it's up to every creator to define like what they think is a valuable action. So yes, like, comment, they are very simple, accessible action that definitely they help on the algorithm on the platform. So like, why not? And it costs nothing or it costs very little to give a few points for a like, a comment. But ultimately, what you want, the kind of action that you want to drive, for example, is like, go check my website, go download my mobile app, go purchase my product. And those you will give much more points if you complete those actions. And that will allow you to reach the certain levels of status that unlock reward that are desirable. So as a fan, what we want is like, usually we want either fan merch and product, or we want more time, dedicated time, one-on-one interaction or smaller group interaction with our favorite creators. they are like celebrities for even at the younger audiences, the Gen Z and even after, like they love that connection to those content creators that they can have. We all know that when we engage in fun, we can spend without counting. Like the potential is unlimited. But what's important, and back to direct point, is like we're introducing solutions that are understandable by everyone. Points, it's easy to understand. It's not because there's been many things that's been tried, obviously, and we've seen like creators looking at doing NFTs. We've seen creators trying to do tokens, their own token, etc. And it didn't work, of course. And for many reasons, because a token is like managing a whole economy and like a currency, not being in control of the supply and markets. But with points, you're in control. You decide how many points are needed for achieving what. You decide like how you are going to issue all those points and so on. And you have like, and it's something that your audience can also understand more easily without feeling the risk, without having a bit of fear of like, oh, what do I need to do with that cryptocurrency and token and so on. So that's why we approach it with this way. And the potential after will evolve. Some creator will start to understand very well. They will understand that, oh, I can also sell my own points directly, just like airlines are doing, to this actual cash. And they will build those loyalty programs in ways that serve their goals. So think about it. So I have a few, just to give you a few examples, like once someone discover your podcast, like one of the things you would like is like for them to hear not just this episode, but the 100 other episodes you've done before. So maybe you will gradually give more points for listening to the older content. Typically, many channels, like they always live on like the new content, and people forget like the back catalog, that evergreen content. So if you had a way to drive people to listen, yeah, I think like the little reward, it's still important. Usually that's how it works. You're not giving $100 away, throwing money by the window. You're just giving some points that encourage people to show as well that they are how much of a fan they are from you. So that also give a measurable way for you to know better your audience and for your audience to prove that they are in a way a better fan than another. And fan crave for that. They always fight when they have coffee, tea, etc. Oh, I'm a bigger fan of let's take any celebrity of Snoop Dogg than you are. And why are you a better fan? Oh, because I just bought the new album when he released it on day one. Oh no, but I bought it on day two. But you didn't go to his concert in Las Vegas and so on. And that are funny moments that we share. Now, like you could start to create a system where I'm a better fan of Derek because I've listened to 10 of his podcasts instead of one. Or you know what? I met him in person when he had this event in Hong Kong, where he was maybe giving a talk and signing something afterwards. These are things that will, in my opinion, will benefit both the creator and the fan.
I think probably most people, and I myself included, would be a bit skeptical when once you drop that word blockchain and then eyes start to roll. How frictionless is it for an artist to get involved and get using the sand chain? And
yeah, that's the whole idea. Like it shouldn't be technical. You shouldn't have to have the complexity of setting up your wallet and so all of things that don't get me started because as Olivia knows, I've been since 2018, one of the pioneers in Web3, and we've seen the struggle of Web3, and that's been one of the main reasons. So leveraging on that experience, we offer something where you don't see the blockchain, actually. You have a wallet being created like a normal profile. You sign up with your email, you complete quests and earn points. You didn't know or interact with the complexity of a wallet. So it's all there behind the scenes. And one day, and progressively, we will unlock features that allow you to, for example, sell those points or trade those points and so on. But for now, let's keep things simple. Let's prove that it works with a few selected content creators and open it progressively to more. And let's not make it about the tech. Let's just make it about the value proposition for them and have the creators speak by themselves on like how it worked for them effectively.
You did mention, so using my main example, LinkedIn. Since I don't own my fans or followers, they're just peers, people that just I connect with, right? Now, you did mention that part of the friction and one of the good things about using SandChain is that it can adapt to already existing social media channels such as LinkedIn, IG, Twitter, not Twitter, X, etc. Are there any plans? Like, is there anything you can update us on how that works and how that, like, because again, I don't own those fans and followers. I mean, I could spam them, follow me, but we all ignore those emails. You know what I mean? So how would you work around that? Like using my example, we follow each other for a while. You've always been very, supportive of my posts and I am of yours. But with LinkedIn, how do I work around it, you think? Like, I'm just trying to understand the infrastructure on how SandChain is going to support, say, LinkedIn and a small creator like myself.
Right. So the good thing, and even on the Web2 platform like LinkedIn and so on, is like there is already a great infrastructure in place for like tracking when people are completing action across different platforms, like following a page, liking a page, commenting on some post, clicking on link and making a purchase. So you can track through the whole journey of how the user made that purchase. And you can even create custom actions like knowing if a user clicked through a link on the page and registering that. So I guess like in your particular case, I would first encourage more follows on LinkedIn. So your notification appear more on the feeds of the followers. Then when you're posting some content, usually you put like a snippet and then you get them to click to read a full article that goes to your own website. So that's the conversion funnel that starts over here. And I guess like from the moment that they saw the article on LinkedIn and they click on your website, that's where like you want to start engaging them into earning more points. So give them point to welcome them having read the full article. That's a bonus. Welcome, you have now on Olivia Lee page and you're discovering my content. Here's 100 points if you sign up with your email here. And then I think maybe other suggested content or giving me your email and then more points. And then you build that journey where progressively you start from someone you don't know on LinkedIn who maybe was just following you or reading you through the algorithm into someone now that you have more chance to know because you have their email and you have them on SandChain system with the points, which you can also track their activity there.
Got it. Thank you for that explanation. It's much more clear now. So basically, you're converting from the social media platform into my own media through, say, my own website or something. Got it. Thank you.
And then the points can have value. Do they go up in value or something? Is that sort of part of the whole ecosystem, or how does that work?
So I don't want to promise or do this kind of like promise like points will grow in value over time. Basically, I feel like it's all a matter of like supply and demand. Your fans will want your points to hopefully exchange them, redeem them for something desirable. But if you give 1 million points of direct, but there is no great incentive or reward for that, maybe those points, like they will not use them. They will be sleeping and they will never consume them. So in a sense, they will have no value because not much demand. So it's also a matter of like how you maintain something that's scarce enough for your audience and you create demand and desire for it by offering something cool. Let me give you a very simple example back with the beauty points or travel points. If by listening to every podcast episode that you have, or by reading every article that you have, Olivia, after a month of reading an article a day or a podcast a week, you can get $100 discount on your next Cathay Pacific flight. Well, that starts to give some value because now you have actually something that the world knows as like $100 worth that you can be exchanged. And so those points, at some point, at some moment, you once you decide you can redeem them for those points, they will automatically be worth $100, and that creates an indication of a primary price. And so users at that point, since those points can be exchanged and sold freely, after, not right now, we're still in testnet, but ultimately they will. There will be an arbitrage, or there will be an option for people to decide, like, do I want to hold my point until I get that reward? So for example, 1,000 points for $100 coupon, 10 cents a point. Or do I want to sell it to someone else who is ready, who is more interested? And what price I'm ready to sell it? I know that someone will not be logically stupid enough to pay more than 10 cents a point, because then they lose on the discount. But maybe they'll be happy to buy it at 5 cents a point from me. And so we're winner. And that starts to create an open market where the value is not decided necessarily by me or by the other, and that's interesting. That's something that we want to explore, that will hopefully open new avenues as well for creators to monetize without diluting themselves.
And those rewards could be intangible, like a.
They can be intangible. That they could
like
be
a happy birthday or something.
Yeah, have like a cameo, for example, where you record a message that you send to your fan. Maybe you decide like only the top, like the highest tier is only for 10 people. Someone who bought my book, someone who, etc. And I will have a private dinner when everyone is in Hong Kong for a special event, for example, to meet me. That really depends on like the content creator, what they are doing, and what their audience is actually looking from them.
Wonderful. Thank you. I mean, I think using everything that we do know about the Web3 and NFTs and all that stuff, using that ownership and applying it into, say, the creators economy is sort of how I'm seeing this now. Like in terms of the loyalty program, all of these, as we all know, they are a bit old and it can be shaken up, but now those existing things that we do know work can be applied to new industries such as the creators economy. Is kind of how I can my understanding of today's talk. Just to round up, right, I really want to hear a little bit more about SandChain. You said testnet right now. What should we expect to see more, partnership creators in terms of what you're doing with SandChain right now? And maybe to end, like, what would you expect in the next 3 to 5 years with SandChain?
So step by step, I guess we are all working toward like the mainnet launch for SandChain, meaning like making it officially live on the blockchain with real value, real token being used and issued. We'd only want to do that once like we have proven the formula with the first participating creator, so then it can go at scale. That means like anyone can start deploying their own application as well into this ecosystem and build up services for content creators that leverage the point, that leverage like giving them as well other things we actually didn't talk to about, but I was referring like instant payment instead of like waiting for 60 days to collect your YouTube ads revenue, for example. So that's the next step for hopefully Q2 this year. There's been a bit of like technical challenges, upgrading blockchain and so on, but let's not talk about it, that delay that, but aiming for Q2. Then we will introduce more features around like how points can be used, the open market for buying and selling them, and so on. And then ultimately, I hope that SandChain become really a platform for content creator to like issue points, to have loyalty system in place, and to have access to other systems that essentially make them better equipped to build up their audience, engage it, and monetize it. So I'm sure people will build up solutions that also we didn't think about, but like we provide the infrastructure to enable that. And I hope that within 5 years, the creator economy, as it's projected to grow to 500 billion a year, that's based on some recent reports over the next 5 years. Have unlocked a lot of it to be more on-chain, to be more instant in the payout, and to have like many more creators that earn more so they can be having like a sustainable activity.
Well, that's exciting.
Great.
And this is certainly a platform where I want to feature people, in Hong Kong specifically and internationally, which maybe doesn't get as much attention. I mean, Sandbox is a pretty big thing, but maybe the awareness in the U.S., for example, is not as prominent. So, what's it like being, kind of, and you kicked it off in Hong Kong. So, what's it like having kicked it off internationally, and what are your challenges, your hurdles, or your hopes, or?
Yeah, I guess like you're right. Like the activity of being a content creator is not equal in all part of the world. So I believe there is some places like the Middle East, like Hong Kong and Southeast Asia, where it's already perceived as a natural job and activity. There's like also probably better infrastructure and government support to like that qualification as a job, and like how being a digital or online content creator still allows you to be recognized, to get access, for example, to credits, to loans, to buy house or apartments, to be able to pay bills or rents as a serious job, and so on. Some markets where Europe or US might be less receptive to that. So I guess like it's also a lot of education and providing ways to enable those creators to be better banked in a way. Like, for example, I was reading this data in the US, and more than 90% of content creators were not able to be banked, to have like credit scores, to have access to buying or renting properly. So only the top 1%, the one that makes 100,000 to millions a year, are being seen. And of course, because they make those big, huge revenue number, it's very inspiring. But the reality is quite different for the majority of others. And then there's this whole new wave of even younger creators, like Roblox exploded, right? It has over 200 million monthly active users. Many of those are kids. Like how kids, young, 13 years old to 18 years old, some of them are very creative and talented. They're earning more than 100,000 a year. How do you manage that? Because they are not adult, they are legally speaking, they cannot collect that revenue. And yet, like they're launching game studio. And I wouldn't say that's really new, because like where probably Derek or myself, even Olivia, when we were kids, I was coding, I was selling things on my website, I was selling my skills to make website or programming source code with other, etc. But I think like Roblox putting a big spotlight on like a phenomenon at scale where like we have all that teenage audience that is so talented with their digital skill that they are earning sustainable revenue. So that's interesting, and it requires us to evolve the way I think, and governments to follow as well to support that. Because we cannot say that this is illegal child work. Obviously, like the kids are not forced; they are enjoying, they are making serious revenue doing what they're enjoying. But in a way, like how do we frame that?
Yeah, I mean, I have an 8-year-old, and he's on Roblox Studio, and he understands game genres at 8 years old. So I'm kind of blown away by that. So I think the culture is different.
Culture change,
Yeah,
and it's like selling the cookie box or selling the lemonade when maybe our grandparents were doing as kids to earn pocket money, gardening and so on. But now that's the next gig in a way for earning pocket money, but it can turn into something really big.
Thank you so much, Sebastien, for coming and sharing with us your thoughts on what is the creators economy. Is definitely a hot topic fueled by a lot of these de-evolution of AI. I think that is also the reason why you're just seeing more and more creators. But to your point, not all of them are the 1%, but there's plenty of room to grow if everyone find their own niche and they learn how to create their own system and having an infrastructure like SandChain to support them such that it becomes a scalable, feasible business, such that it can become a career of some sort is sort of the overall idea. I mean, certainly I'm open like for myself to even think of it as a way to share my knowledge and insights and passion. Creators just the way to go. So thank you so much, Sebastien, for sharing. I know we can go into a lot more deeper. Every time we chat, I learn a little bit more about the creators economy, about what you're building, about SandChain, about art. So it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. And yeah, I mean, I will see you soon again, when you're back in the city.
Definitely looking forward to it. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Derek. And see you all in the creator economy space on the metaverse.
So I want to quickly thank our sponsor, Saicho Tea. It's awesome, single origin, sparkling tea. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Olivia. Thanks for bringing Sebastien on again. And then it's exciting. I'm gonna give a further look. It's taken time, as adopters. I'm probably not as early adopter as most people, but I think it's worth looking at for those creators who are looking to capitalize on their communities, bring them together, and keep them all in one place, and reward them for being such great fans. So yeah, la revolution. I didn't even say it, but you know what I mean. All right. Thanks a lot.
Catch up in Hong Kong. Take care, everyone.
Awesome.
Bye.